Hello and welcome, listeners. This is Steve Pickering, CEO of Sussex Beds, and this is a very special podcast because we are celebrating our 1 year anniversary.
Yay!
1 year anniversary of podcasting. Me and Vic have been in this room for a year.
We have.
For a year.
Crazy, really. I can't believe it's gone so quick.
No, oh my goodness. And so we're going to reflect. We're going to be reflecting on our past 12 months, our year, podcasting, and we have some questions.
We do.
To answer that have been sent in from you, our lovely listeners and watchers. Here we go. Look, Vic's in front of the camera
I know,
today.
hello.
Yes. Say hi, Vic. Hi, Vic. Yep. So here we go. Now, I think maybe a good place to start is, first of all, thanking everybody that's tuned in, listened in, watched us, sent messages and got in contact and got involved. So thank you to everybody and all our guests that we've had over the 12 months as well. Yes, that's been
very, very good. Yeah. We've much enjoyed all of them.
Yes, we have. Yeah, and in fact, I think there's some questions that we'll come on to about guests and things coming up. So thank you ever so much for tuning in and listening in. Some facts. So we have now done 40 episodes.
Yeah, we have.
40 podcast episodes over the last 12 months. And we've had a staggering 6,790 listens and watches across all channels.
Yeah. That's a lot. That's a lot of watchers.
That is, yeah. And I don't think we ever expected that many people to listen in and watch us when we started this 12 months ago, did we, Vic?
No, I don't think we did, which is exciting, and it's nice to see the year numbers come out.
Yeah, so that's really cool. So here we go. Great. Yeah. So we've got some questions. I think Vic's got the questions.
Yes, I have.
So I'm going to pass over to Vic and we're going to run through some questions and some thoughts on what we've done over the last 12 months.
Let's do it.
Okay. Here we go. Go on then, Vic.
So we've had a question. Looking back, what's something about the journey this past year that episode 1, Steve and Vic would never have expected? God, I can't read. We'll try again.
Go on, try again.
Looking back, what's something about the journey this past year that episode 1, Steve and Vic would have never expected?
Never expected. Ooh, for me, I never expected so many regular listeners and watchers. Yeah. And what I mean with that is, you know, we've done 40, it's 12 months, obviously, there's a few gaps in there. And the occasional gaps, I've had people message in and say, is there an episode this week?
I know, I've had to start putting things out saying, sorry, no episode this week.
Yeah, that really has shocked me, is how many people regularly tune in and listen in on a regular basis. How about you, Vic?
I think for me, it was after we did all the family, the amount of interest you had of people wanting to come on.
Yes.
And like talk about their story or whatever it might be. Yeah. I didn't really know in episode 1 if that would ever be a thing, but it was.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, people sort of volunteering to come on and absolutely.
Now we're like, oh yeah, you want to come on? Great, let's get you in.
Come. Yeah.
And if you want to come on,
yes, you
do
absolutely.
Let me or Steve know.
Yeah. Get in contact with Vic if you want to come on, come and have a chat, talk through your journey.
Exactly.
Then, you know, we're always looking for and eager to find new people, and
definitely.
It's not that scary. I
no,
promise.
It's not actually. It's all right.
No.
That question was for Josh.
Oh, there
from
we go.
Josh.
There we go, Josh. Yeah, there we go. Question number 1 answered.
Sorted. Question number 2.
Yes.
Have you ever had a guest say something that completely changed your perspective?
Yes, I have.
Go for it.
Do you know what? Actually, I would say it's changing my life.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
Go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was actually Dr. Nick.
Okay. Nice.
When Dr. Nick come in, and when he was speaking about highly processed foods.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. You hear
Yeah.
this term
Okay.
thrown all over the place.
all the time.
And I think the next day, me and Paula were having lunch, and we're eating our lunch, which was it was nice. It was a Marks and Spencer's dish that we put in the microwave, heated it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm eating away, and I said, "Wow, yeah, but it's Marks and Spencer's. What is highly processed food?" Yeah. And then this is.
Oh, okay.
See, I always thought it was like cheaper stuff, budget stuff.
Cheeseburger, something.
But and then we looked, and then discovered actually we eat loads of highly processed foods, and I'm like, oh goodness.
Oh no.
And in fact, 1 week later, we said, and we'd done HelloFresh before, and we said, maybe should we go back to HelloFresh for a little while?
Okay. Yeah. Oh wow. And so you have.
It changed my life.
Because now you're like thinking about it more.
Yeah. So we are now eating slightly more healthily because of Dr. Nick. Thank you, Dr. Nick.
Right. So question number 3.
Yeah.
Which guest surprised you the most? Once you actually sat down and recorded with them.
Okay. So this was, for me, I think, probably the biggest surprise and one of the biggest enlightening podcasts that we did was with Oliver Towner.
Yeah, that would be mine.
Would it be yours? Yeah. And I think of Towner's funeral services. And I just thought it was just eye-opening, because you don't talk about death, and you don't mix business with death, and how Oliver so delicately sort of mixed business with obviously quite a sad subject.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
it was just really a nice way of putting it and seeing it from that perspective.
I'd never thought about how funeral directors work,
me either.
And when he spoke about COVID, and the struggles that they went through. Oh, you must be busy, but of course they couldn't do the full service, which is where they make their money, and so actually they've done lots of hard work through that period. And so I think that was one of the most fascinating.
Yeah, there was a lot of interesting things that people wouldn't know because it's not something you ask because of its like stereotype or whatever.
Yeah,
so.
and I think I've had more people come up to me and say, comment about Oliver's podcast than any of the others that we've done.
Yeah.
And I think it's because it's something you don't hear very much.
People don't talk about. And we had so many questions that we probably spoke about off camera as well after we'd finished, and we were just asking him loads of things. Yeah. It was fascinating.
It was. Yeah. So thank you, Oliver.
Yes, thank you.
Really good. And I think you could do that. We could do another one because there was so much more. And I think both of us were so glued to what Oliver was saying.
You could really like dive deeper into like a certain area of it and how they do stuff and their marketing or how they don't market really, but that's sort of like on the line sort of thing.
No, that was really cool.
Okay, thanks. So our last question for this section is, what's something that happened behind the scenes that listeners would never expect? We just spoke about this.
We just spoke about this because it's quite a tough one. But I think what we come to conclusion, actually, what you don't see is, and Vic says, we have lots of people go, oh yeah, I'll come on. And then they arrive.
They do.
And the amount of our guests that go, oh my goodness, I'm so nervous. And I'm, I just...
They're like, okay.
I'm really quite nervous about this, and some of them perform and do all these things.
Totally. And they're like, am I dressed all right? Is there going to be a camera? What's the situation?
And then I think the flip side, once we're finished, how many go, oh my God, I really enjoyed that. That was fun.
Exactly.
And absolutely loved that.
And you notice them really ease into it. If you watch on YouTube, you might see it, but you do find them relax a little bit and open up a bit more, which is nice. Because, it is out of people's comfort zone.
Yeah,
it's quite strange sort of concept. So.
So I think that switch from nervousness to to actually, I really enjoyed that. I'd love to do more. And so, yeah, I think that's probably the bit that you don't see behind the scenes. And some of our pre-chats and after-chats.
Yes, that you
wish you were recording.
I know.
A lot of that, you know, the pre-chats especially, it's like, oh my goodness, that's gold dust.
You have to wait. You have to wait and say this on the podcast, please.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's probably,
Yeah, the behind-the-scenes bit is cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, go on, Em.
Okay, thank you. So, we're going on. So, how has hosting this podcast changed your perspective on business or life? Has it?
I guess it's... I mean, I've worked in our family business since I was 14. And it's much of what I know, and so my family's coming and working with family and so closely with friends. And I think it's understanding that what we have is one, interesting.
Yes.
And you know, because we just take it for granted that this is just normal.
Just normal. That's true.
Everybody works with their wives and does performance reviews with their wives, and you know, and has their sons, daughters. But actually, it's really taken me back. You know, what we have is quite different, quite unique, especially in this modern world. So I think that's probably the biggest learning for me from doing these podcasts is understand that and the interest. I know, you know, even close friends and family that have listened in have learned things about us and, you know, what we go through and what we've done. And, you know, and I know there's a lot of listeners, that family and friends who have found it, you know, fascinating to hear the stories, the journeys and the emotions.
Yeah, the ups and downs that you've had and how you know, support each other through it. And it is, Yeah.
What do you think, Vic?
What do I think? I think it's changed my job role a bit. I think my perspective, but also my perspective on, you've obviously opened up and I've listened because I've been in here to all of them. You talk to lots of different people and I've really got to know you a lot better, I think, and I know a lot about what's been going on. And I think from my job, that's a really nice perspective to have, just like the changes in the business and the changes in the family and the outside of the business as well, and how you all work together and get on. It's been good.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Next question is, what keeps us motivated to produce new episodes?
I think it's hearing the stories. I think as we've progressed in this, it's then listening to people and meeting different people, different types of business, different types of job roles, hearing their journeys, their stories of where they've got to, how they've got to. I find it fascinating, actually.
Yeah, so do I. And I think that's why it's been, you know, we've had lots of people come forward wanting to be guests.
Yeah.
That makes it a lot easier and we just sort of enjoy it.
Yeah, it really is. And I think that's where it's changed, you know, in that it's become much more, okay, tell me more. I'm really fascinated about what you're saying here. And just chatting to people and learning about people. And that for me has probably been the reason why we keep doing it. I think we just want to get more people on, share more stories. We'll have so many more stories to share as time goes from
on.
It, you know, and I know people out there as well. Just so many people have picked up on, you know, what I think are just comments and they go, oh my God, that was resonated with me so much, and I'm like, oh really, you know, and
you're like, oh okay.
It's
weird what people pick up on, like you just said, that you wouldn't even realise. So that's the reason we keep doing it, really.
Absolutely.
And it's enjoyable. I guess for you it's sort of a bit of a way from work, like a different side to work for you, which is probably quite nice.
You know, and if we're, you know, chatting about things and it helps someone or puts someone in a direction, motivates, or even if it's just learning what we're about, you know, I know, you know, recruitment wise, you know, we've done some recruitment recently and it was picked up on, you know, they'd listened and want to be a part of that, and that's fantastic.
We love that.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. So the last one of this section is, what's one thing you wish you'd known when you started?
One thing I know when I started, I think when we first started, we tried to, I guess, script and put in place, right, we want to cover this, but, and it was quite robotic.
Yeah, a bit regimented, wasn't it?
And I think actually just let the conversations go where they naturally want to go, and just be curious and interested. And I think that's where we've improved. And I guess really knowing that from the outset would have been quite helpful. But I think that's all part of the journey.
I think so. And I actually went back and listened to a bit of one of the first episodes, and I was just like, oh my god,
cringe.
This is you could just hear me and you both just talking. We're just sort of like, okay, so we're going to talk about it's totally different now. You'd hope 40 episodes in, but
yes. And I think one of the the biggest changes was a tip from someone about also giving our guests some information up front, so and I think that eased some of the nerves as well, wasn't it? Where at first it was like, here we go, and
no wonder people were scared. It was like, good luck.
But I think letting conversations go for me is probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thanks. Okay, so we've got some fun and light-hearted questions now. We've called it.
Okay.
So, what's the funniest or most unexpected moment from the past year?
I think unexpected.
Okay.
Because we've had lots of fun, lots of laughs. In fact, every single one we seem to be laughing.
We always come out, don't we? Someone says,
that's
a lot of laugh.
Yeah.
We're like,
but probably most unexpected is how people have been so open.
Yeah.
And, we've touched on so many different emotional journeys.
We have.
Or experiences, or even just things that people are going through in their lives, and how open and honest our guests and everybody have been. And I think that's been, for me, the
best, the most unexpected bit. Same, because you don't really know, and people come in and they think, oh, maybe I don't want to talk about that. But actually they end up bringing it up.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, well, that's fine.
And we just, I think with everybody listens knows, this is just a raw conversation. We don't cut. We don't. No. It is what it is. If we mess up,
it's fine.
It's fine. Whatever. You fumble your words.
Yeah, we don't mind. It doesn't matter.
We are what we are. And I think this is the honesty and the the realness of what we've done here, really. So,
I think that's a really core part of it, is the realness.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
And it's not trying. It says maybe it is unorthodox, but that's the point.
And it's funny. Some people say to me, "How come not the unorthodox CEO?" It's because, well, I'm sure there are even more unorthodox CEOs out there. I'm just an unorthodox CEO. So.
Yeah, nice. That makes sense. I like that. Brilliant. Right. Next question for you, Steve.
Yeah.
If you could interview anyone from history, who would it be?
I don't think about this. And you could go down business routes and people that you aspire to, but I suppose it's quite topical. But someone. Neil Armstrong. Now imagine, so an astronaut, and you've just gone past the moon again, haven't they? What I found really, I'm going off the tangent here, but fascinating was that the last time they went to the moon was 1972.
Yeah, which is
and you think that was
the year
I was born in 1972, and we've only just travelled back. But anyway. Neil Armstrong, imagine, we say often about pushing ourselves outside our comfort zone and, growing and all this. Imagine taking off in a rocket filled with fuel, the fears, the worries, the anxiety.
What might happen?
How do you manage that? And then getting to the moon and landing on the moon and all the different things that you've got to go through to get on the moon and step on the moon and all this sort of stuff. the fears and I'd love to have a conversation and say, how did you deal with that? What did you do? What was you thinking? God. You know, the first person to go there.
That would be cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to get his inside thoughts on.
Yeah, and how he managed that would be incredible.
Yeah.
So nothing to do with business, but I think it's
but I don't think that matters. I think we're about interesting stories,
chat.
aren't we? It would be a great chat.
Yeah. Or any astronaut, to be honest with you. I think it's something not many of us really ever...
No, and will never experience as well. So, yeah. I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Which episode would you recommend to someone just discovering the podcast?
We've had some fantastic guests, but I suppose to get a flavour of what we're about, which is what we're doing here, I think probably the one that we did, Meet Vic, who was behind the camera, coming in front of the camera. I think then you get to know what we're about and you see how honest and real it was. Yeah. And there was emotion in that.
There was,
we had talking about your challenges. But I think actually that for me would be the one I'd say, go and watch. Because I think then you get to see what we're about. And then when we're talking to people, I think you understand what the whole podcast is about.
That's very true. And the personality, you see our personalities and how then they come through in other ones.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Thanks. Okay, so this was sort of a thing from me. Yeah. So I listened back to the first few episodes. Yeah. And the catchphrase, which you obviously say, which is if you're watching in the morning, actually came naturally in the first ever episode.
Did it really?
You said good night and then you carried on with if you're watching in bed, and it went from there. You then said about having a sandwich at lunchtime and
walking the dog,
or if you're just waking up. And I just wanted to bring that up because I was thinking, where did that come from? Because that wasn't something that was scripted. That just came from you.
Yeah, that's...
And we sort of latched onto it, which is
Totally
great.
my randomness.
And I thought, just listen back. And it's everyone since the first.
That's amazing. Yeah, I didn't realise that.
No, me either.
Fact of the day.
Exactly. Oh, it is. Little thing. So... Yeah. That's it.
That's our questions.
That is our questions.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing.
Think that's really it, Steve. We just need to say thanks to everyone that's listened. Yeah.
Thank you very much again for listening in. We are back. We are coming back.
I don't know what I've written on them.
So, as always, that's a wrap. That's a wrap on our 1 year anniversary special.
Woo!
I hope you've enjoyed the year, but also our little pod here is celebrating the year. We will be back. We will be back for season 4. Season 4. Yeah. It's just like Friends.
I know, isn't it? Are we going to get to like 20?
Season 4 in May. So we're back in May. So keep a lookout for when we're kicking off.
Yeah.
But of course, as always, if you need or require any more unfiltered business talk, you can find me on Instagram, YouTube, and on LinkedIn at An Unorthodox CEO. So, for the final time, until we start again, if you're listening while you're laying in your Sussex bed, thank you for purchasing a Sussex bed, firstly, but sleep well. If you're walking your dog, if you're skiing down a hill, if you're skateboarding, along listening to our pod, if you're eating your breakfast or a sandwich or whatever you're doing, thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you soon in May for some more really good top guests. Yeah. And some really good stories, I'm sure, to come.
It's going to be good.
It's going to be cool. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. See you soon. Bye-bye.